Alright, Arca at Homestead. I'm running just my normal setup, 16 to 1 plus 5. That's what the offset you should run if you're running 16 to 1 if you want a straight wheel. Brake bys, you can go as low as you want. Haven't gotten a clean lap in yet, but I'm pretty sure I know what's up here. We're running the top, and the thing about this Arca car that's a little bit different than if you've watched any Homestead videos lately is that this car really likes to roll off throttle and off brake. For whatever reason, it feels like sometimes the trail brake just keeps the car a little bit less rotation than you would expect it to. So we're going to try a couple laps here. Should be the top, especially with these daytime temperatures. It's hard to explain in 3 and 4, but there's this little... You get into the corner, but then it feels like you drop in again to the corner. Like it adds more banking up top. So I'm really patient off throttle until that happens. Then 1 and 2, you gotta be really careful on the first lap because there's no grip on the cold tires. So like we turn in here and we wait for like a secondary drop in that happens like right there, and that's when we can go. Otherwise, this car really loves to slide up in the middle of 3 and 4. Alright, we should get a little more speed here. Keep the car turning off the wall. It's just a little more speed. We can turn all the way down and kind of straighten out our exit. Not that much faster to do it that way, but I do find there's more speed in it. See how the car just kind of comes up the track even when it feels like it should just be rotating more. That's what that's all about. Just to compare, I'm going to run the bottom as fast as I can this time. Actually, we'll run the second lane. Second lane is usually a bit faster than the bottom. So it's slower, but not by like a ton. You just can't get the run out the corner. Then there's one more line to consider. And it's the stupid line. It's the dive bomb line. Bring it all the way up. But it doesn't look like it's quite fast enough here. Maybe in 3 and 4 has a chance actually of being pretty fast. Let's try it out. Slide all the way up. I mean, for as ridiculous as the line that it is, it's not like incredibly slower. But yeah, just like I thought, that top line is going to be king here. We'll go over that line a little bit. So let's check the track temp here real quick. 96 degrees, so it's like not hot, but it's not cold. And your lap times are going to vary completely based on what your track temperatures are. So if you're looking for like what your target time should be, this is only a rough estimate. One, because it's probably not as fast as I could drive in theory, but also because it's probably not the same track temperature that you're trying it on. So just running the top to get the run up in 1 and 2. I just run a normal 3 and 4 corner. So my goal of this corner here is to get the car turning and pointed at this seam right here. It's pretty hard to see in the video probably, but there's a little seam between the top lane and the second to top lane. And I want my car angled to that seam, and I almost want to drive straight into that seam, almost like it's Darlington. Then I let the car slide up a little bit, and then throttle the car to keep it off the wall. If, when you throttle the car, it does not rotate your car, or at least it goes straight into the wall, that means that you carry too much speed into the corner or you throttled too early. So just play around with that. Just treat it a bit like Darlington, where you let the car come up the track and then throttle it off the wall. It plays a lot like Darlington in that way. And the rest of the corner is really trivial. If once you're able to keep it off the wall here, you just let the car go where it wants to go. Minimal fighting of the wheel. Trying to get the wheel straight as early as possible for maximum speed. 3 and 4. A little bit of the same thing. I'm a little more patient getting back to the throttle of 3 and 4 because there's something in this track, like in the middle of 3 and 4, which you just have less grip than in 1 and 2. I don't know what it is. I guess just characteristics of the track. But I just let the car slide up the track and then make sure that I'm not sliding up under throttle. Takes a little bit of trial and error for sure, but especially in a hot lap scenario, you should be able to get a rhythm. And don't worry about this transferring over to race because you're not going to be using this line in the race. This line destroys tires, and you do not want to be driving like this in the race. I want to make that clear. Do not drive a line like this in the race. You can run the top, but you can't run like the Darlington Diamond up to the wall, turn down the wall type of line in the race. Oh, jeez, oh pizza. Well, that's embarrassing. Well, I'm not restarting. I was just warming the tires. Tires are warm now. Whoa, they're really warm now. Dang. And full of dirt. Well, now that we got the tires warm, I can demonstrate to you the best lines for long run. There's 2. Well, there's 3. I really like the bottom, but sometimes cars can't really handle this bottom. And then the second line becomes really good, but you have to treat it like the bottom. So this line running the bottom is really nice if you can get it to stick. But sometimes it feels like you have to turn really early, and sometimes I just have to run the second line even if I'm aiming for the bottom line. You can see this is already as fast as me failing that dive bomb line. So that was like 4/10 off my all-time best. Really, you can run the second line to a pretty good effect. It saves a lot more tire than running the top. Sometimes running the bottom is really good, but if the car just doesn't want to stick to the bottom, like I'm feeling a lot of feedback from the car there, just is telling me that the bottom amount of banking might not be enough. In that case, you can run the second line. You just have to be really careful that you're not pushing it too hard in the second line. Really not even tempting full throttle until we're almost out of the corner. That's about half a second off my hot lap. That's probably not going to fly in a race. You're probably going to get exploited by people just ripping the top. Whenever I see Arca at Homestead, I think best race strategy is just to fight really hard for positions for like 2 laps, and then wherever you end up at, you just try to lock in. Because you can only maintain your super fast hot lap times for like 4 or 5 laps max at Homestead. With this line, I think I could carry it out indefinitely. Notice how I'm not sliding up to the wall. I'm just keeping the car wrapping on its line for the whole corner. That was probably even a bit too aggressive on the throttle, because we're just trying not to make our tires angry with us. I even can split the lines a little bit if I want my car to rotate a bit more. This keeps me turning a bit more. That actually can be the line if you feel like your car is trending on the tight side. This setup on this track feels like it might trend on the tight side. So if you could split the lanes, especially through corner entry when your car's under the most stress, and corner exit, I guess, because you see how my car slides up here? Even though it's faster, that's an amount of tire usage that I probably shouldn't be doing at this point in the run. Or hardly any point in the run, to be honest with you. So just easing it into splitting lanes and then getting it to rotate and then staying on the bottom here. That's like the perfect long run line in my opinion. For this, sometimes the perfect long run line at Homestead is just running straight up the white line, but I think it's splitting seam. I really do. Now for this next lap, I am going to run the top just to see how much faster that is at this point of the run. About 5 laps in. Splitting seam. A little bit too aggressive on the throttle there. Wasn't a great move. But see how much rotation I get on exit? Otherwise, I'd be sliding up the track. So let's try a top run here. That was a bit, I would say that was a bit undercooked for what I could have done. But, I mean, it's even. I think I underdrove that, what it could be a little bit. But you can see the tires have already almost evened out. Okay, that's a bit closer. It makes, yeah, about a tenth per end is probably more like it. Let's see if I can push this any harder. But you see, the harder you push it, the more tire you're giving away doing it. But yeah, so like by lap 5, rolling the bottom, you're only like 0.2 of a second slower, and you're saving a ton of tires. And this is a track that you can get spots back in the long run because all the tire burners will go to the top, where you can just roll the bottom, and if you're like half a second faster than them, then you can pass them without even ever interacting with them. Okay, now let's go back to the bottom. One more test. Really early bottom. Split the seams. Get the car to rotate. It's a little slow. About 0.2 for one corner is not super ideal, but it's also not completely broken. 3 and 4 should be the more successful one, because 3 and 4 is just the worst top line. Yeah. So, if anything, if you're forced to run the top just by how the race comes to you, I would do it in 1 and 2. But I really do think that you could run like a conservative, not sliding up the track bottom line, and the race should come to you. I'm pretty confident with that, especially in a no caution race like Arca. But you can see I'm wearing rear tire more here, and I promised you if you're running the top, you're wearing front tire, and that's like detrimental for running the top. All right, thank you all for watching. Hope you have a wonderful day. Hope to see you all on the track.